Good morning. The Rambam we are going to do today is Hilchas Ishus, Perokim, and also various halachas in the Perokim Gimel, back in Perokim Beis. And the topic is Yerushas Habal, the Yerusha of the of his wife. Now, we know that a husband inherits his wife. So that is the discussion. So the Rambam in Perokim Beis, Halacha Aleph, right? Habal koidem l'chol odem b'Yerushas ishtay. That the husband precedes as anybody else inheriting his wife. Now we're going to go back and see where that comes from and what's the source of that. And he writes, "Me'emasai yizke b'Yerushasa." When does he? At what point in the marriage? There's the arusa, and there's Nisuin, betrothal, the actual marriage. So which one is it that makes it? So he writes, "Mishateitze mershus avia," when she leaves her father's domain. Even though she hasn't yet become his full wife, as long as she's under the auspices of her husband, he inherits him. Okay. Perokim Beis, Halacha Aleph, he wrote, any Jewish woman he marries, he writes, he becomes obligated to 10 things, and he gets 4 things. What are the 4 things that he gets? He's right. They're all divrei sefer. Now we're going to examine what the word divrei sefer means, but that's what it says. In order for the work that she does belongs to him. Second, she finds something, belongs to him. As third, if she owns property, he benefits the profits right now as long as she's alive and married to him. And fourth, if she dies when he's alive, he inherits him. But the Rambam doesn't stop there. He has another line. And he's before anybody in Yerush. So, according to the Rambam, there are 4 things, divrei sefer, which in the literal translation would sound like midrabban. Says the Ravid, Amar Avram, Eimani Yerusha Baal, right? Nope. I argue and I say it's not here. Okay. Leaving this out, and we'll come back. Let's see if we come back. Then in Hilchas Shmita, if you ever just a note, he writes a little clearer. And I hear it's not divrei sefer, it's midivrei, which sounds much more like a drabban. In Hilchas Nachlos, he goes back to the words of divrei sefer, but here he writes. He starts off. A husband does not inherit his wife. A wife does not inherit her husband at all. Okay, then he's first. Again, he's always first. Don't drive it. I don't agree with this. And enough proofs not like that. Now, there's a big problem. Most sources in the Gemara stress that Yerushas Habal is the rice. There's very few opinions They don't hold like that. There is an opinion of Rav. It says not that it's Midrabanan. There are mentions of Midrabanan. But the general gist of the Rishay of the Tanoim is that it's the rice. So due to that, the Maggid Mishnah wants to say that the word Medivra Seifrim, we know the Rambam can use for the rice too. He just anything that's not mefurish in the Torah, he called Divri Seifrim. You learn it from Seifrim, from the derivatives that you can learn the halachas in the Torah from. Okay, and that would be based on a Gemara. That the Gemara says it's nachla bolei lodim makam acher. So that would be the thought, but he says not muchach. However, in Hilchas Shemitah V'Evel, he does say that it sounds like it's Rabbana. So that, but why? Why did the Rambam go there? All right. So there's a lot of different explanations. I want to follow one trend of thought that might explain this, but let's analyze some of the writings of the Rambam that we just learned. In Perokim Beis, which is the first time he mentions it, he writes that Yezeicha, as I stressed it when I learned it, in Mesa, so he already says clearly, if she dies, he inherits. Now, why does he mention that's not what the takana was? Now, matter of fact, in the Gemara that he's quoting, which is in Ksubis, it doesn't say over there Yerushasu Eichel Peiros B'Chaya. There just says Yerushasu. I'm sorry, just Yerushasu. Isha Maisi Benzias Isha Maisi Dela Ba'ile Yerushasu Eichel Peiros B'Chaya. Those are the four things. Doesn't mention Ukaid L'Cholad and Yerush. So why does the Rambam feel important to mention? Perokim Beis, which we are learning now, he just starts off and says one thing: Habal Kaid L'Cholad and Yerush. He doesn't even talk about Yerush. That's kind of not true. When you say Habal Kaid L'Cholad and Yerush, you know that he yarshes her. But that's not what should have been the discussion. Habal Yerush, and as the next line is Me'emas Hayiska Habal Yerush. And the truth is, all he should have started is well, then, why the whole introduction? And why this introduction? Hilchas Nachlis. He writes again, the beginning of Hilchas Nachlis. Again, always reminding us. Hilchas Nachlis, he starts off, Isha Einei Reshes by the cloud. Why does he do that? Why does he start with a negative? First, he should tell us about Yerush is called next station of the same. And he's right, Isha Einei Reshes by the cloud. Why does he go the other way around? That's not the way you write a law. And he's talking about say the Nachlis. So to say the Nachlis should be about Yerush and Ishtay. Okay. In Hilchas Ishus, Halacha test is the Halacha. She made a Tanai with his wife, Shlei Yeshena, Tanoi, Bach. Obviously, about it, so why can't he say any rights of it? I don't want what I can't give it. Also, chizik with the Rayam, you shall take. And then he brings a pasuk that Yerusha B'chalal, Avishah Mammon, you can't make it not. So the Rayam comes and says, I don't understand what the Rambam wants. He doesn't have anything to make a t'nai on. Yerusha comes after she dies. So what are we talking about here? How can you make us an the question? Hey, Chodam Yoch Las Adam is Lebala Elam. Hey, Chema La'ovi V'Le'echad Merishav Dinah Dvar Mainly B'Nechos. It's not a gay now. You're lying. What's he saying? Okay. The Rambam, regarding the Tanai, if a person makes a Tanai, Shalai Yishena, he writes an interesting lush. His name is Shalai Yishena, Reza Lo Yishena. Finished. Klal, Lo Yishena. But they say, no. And here he writes an interesting because it's not from him, his mishpacha, he can do it. Now, but his name is no, as we said before, because it's already made a takon, you can do. So why he write it in such a manner that it sounds first of all you could, then he says you can't. Yeah, that it depends when. Because it says right away the halacha is clearly that it helps in such case that you could do in this case not. Now, in the Gemara, the lush is not nachla haba lo adam shleim mishpachte. It says haba lo adam imokem acher. Comes from another source. What does that mean? So Rashi says she'eni yerushas avoiso elai de ma'isov aboloi, because he Tavalai. It comes to him because he did an act of kedusha. So the main point in Rashi and the main taich in the words of the Gemara sound like because it came through Nisuyin, not because that mishpachta. Shloim mishpachta. What do you mean mishpachta? That's not the word. The makam ach means that it didn't come automatic; it came through a Maisa. And why is that the Rambam? Why doesn't he stress that? All right, those are the indications that the Rambam is saying something to me, and I think maybe we can take out something from this. Perhaps Taisus in Ksubis says a losh. I guess the question, I'm not going to get into the question. And he says, "Leidamya Yerushas Abal L'Sha Yerusha Shabois Machmas Kurva." Also, the sounds like the Rambam. It's not a Yerusha that comes through Kurva; it comes through something else. Now, what do you know? It comes through Kurva. It originally came about not through Kurva, but then once you got married, you're a karev to your wife. Ulai. The Rambam and Taisus are on the same boat, the same kav, and they learn that the relationship between a husband and wife is not mishpacha, it's not kurva. According to Rashi and all the Rishonim that follow Rashi, pretty much pshat. Before you get married, you have no relationship. You created the relationship, so that's different than everything else. According to Ulai, the Rambam and Taisus, even when you're married, it's not a mishpacha relationship. That's not type of relationship. So what is it? So perhaps in the Gemara and Sanhedrin regarding Eidus, the Gemara asks Shaila, if somebody has his wife has a son, so he is not allowed to testify for the son. It's called Charigai. What about the wife of his wife's son? Because there it is really no further relationship. So what's the shaila? In other words, the wife's grandson doesn't affect him. So the Gemara answers Baal ki ishtay. The Gemara also says Isha kabayla. The Gemara learns it out from Apostle. Called the Isha kabayla. A woman is like her husband. The Rambam in Hilchos Eidus says, "Kol isha she'ata paisel lo kach kol isha shat the base lo kach the base labayla shabal kish kol bal shat the base lo kach the base posel isha isha. So could be, according to the Rambam, a husband should not inherit his wife. He's not mishpacha, not kruva. Nachlas goes on kruva and mishpacha. Another relationship on a certain type of blood relationship, which is mishpacha and kurva. The chiddush of Yerusha Sabal is that the Rabbanan said we're going to take into we're going to consider the fact that Isha is like Baila, and that's why he's her, she's him, and that's why he's Mayrish. If that were true, it would fit very well. Why the Rambam keeps stressing the stress, he's it. It's him. He goes before anybody. It's not just Tama Yerusha. It's Yerusha which he is based on the fact that he's before anybody else because he's his own person. And therefore he has to be Kaidam L'Chaladim. Now the Kaidam L'Chaladim is the way to understand how it works. And that's why in Perokim Beis, let's understand, Perokim Beis, in our Sukkah, he only brings the Baal Kaidam L'Chaladim Yerusha Ishta. And why is that? Because he writes it to explain how is it possible. What's the logic that as soon as she's Bershus Abal, he's Meirisher? He's not yet family. He didn't marry her yet. They'll chuppah. Doesn't matter. It's not. It has nothing to do with the marriage. It's with the balabatishkeit that he has over, and that's Ishta Kabbalah. That there's already Shaykh the Takon of Ishta Kabbalah. Besides Mishpacha, he shouldn't have had she been in Mishpacha. That's what the Rambam understands. Okay, so now let's take a step further. If this is true, that the Isha Baila relationship is not Mishpacha, and the Yerusha would have, let's go to the step and say that it would be Midat. So the Torah says that Isha Baila, which means true. The Torah does say that. Nothing to do with Yerusha necessarily. It does say that. And we say that the Torah holds its Yerusha. How could then the woman not inherit her husband? Because Baal Kish they also. How does it go one way, not the other? I mean, is there one person? And for whatever reason, this is the way they were massacring it. Oh, that's why in Hilchis Nachlis he starts off the Halacha Isha Eine Yereshes Baila Klal, and then he writes Abal Yeresh is called Nichse Isha Midiv Sefer. That's the Hachocha that is Midiv Sefer. So even though he has all other svaras and all other Rishain that say that the Tanoim that say not like that, Rambam sticks to his guns because based on his understanding of the sugya, that's the only one that can fit is Rav Shitta. Again, that being the case, what did the Rav ask? Hey, Chodam Yochlas Adam Shalei Baloila. Hey, Chevel Ove Vayla Echad Marishav Dinat Var Meila Ben Achas. Yeah, the Echad Marishav you can't do that, and to the Ove you can't do that. But you want, she's me. I'm being married because it's me. I have a right to say I don't want this. I can be selling myself. I'm not interested in this. I don't want to deal with this being this relation, this connection. That's why he sets up the Tanai in a way where he says his name is Shana. He's a Lo Yeshana. Means logically, of course, he shouldn't be married. I don't want to be one with her regarding this. Can't make me be one. But it's in an EF because a common concept, but that's the idea. Oh, Chachama wouldn't sack it. That's nice, bottle. Okay. Like is it stark? Atzlocha Rabba, everybody be well.